Let's start in Vermont tonight, where parents have been warned to keep a close eye on their blue-eyed, blonde-haired 12 and 13-year-old sons. Now, why so specific? All because of this sexual predator who's set to be released from prison into the community tomorrow.
It's frightening to think about. If you're parents of blonde-haired, blue-eyed boys, it's petrifying. This warning was issued by police in Springfield, a small town along the banks of the Connecticut River. 53-year-old Timothy Zad will be a free man tomorrow. He was sent to prison in 2001 for aggravated sexual assault against a 13-year-old boy. Now, Zad admitted he grabbed his victim after meeting him along a riverbank while fishing. He carried him across the river, handcuffed him, and sexually assaulted him twice. He could have been sentenced to life, but was offered 7 to 20 years in a plea bargain to spare his victim from testifying. Zad was planning to move home with his parents, but after getting threats, they backed out of the deal.
I wouldn't want him in my neighborhood. I don't think that you or anybody else would want them in their neighborhood.
Investigative journalist Michelle Sagona, also criminal defense attorney Holly Hughes, joins us on this. And Michelle, start with you. This is scary, and I understand you just talked to the police chief there. What are they telling you?
Police Johnston and I just got off the phone about 20 minutes ago, and what he says is that last Wednesday he received notification from the Department of Corrections that Mr. Zad would be released, and from that point he put an action plan in place. He issued press releases, he reached out to the schools in the area, he was ready to go start knocking from door to door with the Department of Corrections to talk about this risk assessment that the Department of Corrections did and why Mr. Zad is such a high-risk sex offender, and that very specific details that you talked about for the type of child he may possibly try to go after based on what they assessed. And this is also very personal to the police chief, because what he says is that a few years ago he had another sex offender that was released. He did the same sort of thing, and the man moved out of state, down to the south, and reoffended again. He just doesn't want this to happen.
Holly is with us as well, and Holly is a mom. To get that specific of a warning,
right,
it makes you think, what else can they possibly do? Why is it now up to the parents to keep our children safe from the sex offender? But once a prisoner is released, what controls are in place, if any, to watch this guy?
Well, basically, he has to register with the Sexual Offender Registry of the state. But the bottom line is this particular offender will not be on parole. He is just free. There's nobody overseeing him. He doesn't have to report in. Once he registers, he is free to come and go as he pleases, because under the law, in the terms of his plea agreement, he has finished his sentence. So there is no oversight, which is really frightening. And he is what we call a preferential offender. You notice how specific they got. They said 12 to 13. Blue-eyed, blonde-haired boys. This is who he goes after, because we can tell based on his prior offense and based on anything they might have found in his home when they conducted a search warrant, he is a preferential offender. He only likes that particular age group, sex, and orientation.
As horrifying as it is, at least a warning is in place, right?
Yeah,
yes.
and I just want to go to Michelle really quick. Michelle, we have just a little bit of time left. Where is he going now? Because I understand after this all came out, he was going to live with his parents. Now that seems unsure. Where is this guy going?
You're exactly right. Well, the Department of Corrections tells me that he will be released tomorrow. We do know that. The police chief says that from what he's heard, he may be going out of state. We may not even know tomorrow which state he goes to, but prior to leaving the facility, he will have had to register with the particular state he plans to go in. And from what I'm told is that he'll probably be picked up from the facility and driven away to a certain point. And at some way, somehow, he'll possibly go to whatever state that he's going to be going to next. But one other nugget that I was also told is that although he's received a lot of treatment behind bars, from what I'm told from the chief is that he plans to take that treatment with him to the outside world. So that is good news.
Okay. Michelle Sagona, great job as always. Holly Hughes as well.